Today we're talking about an OF creator called Lily Phillips. I'm sure you've heard of her. She is a young British woman who decided to sleep with 100 men in one day, and she wants to go for 1,000 men in 24 hours next, in February 2025. They made a documentary about her endeavor, so this is what we're going to go over today. We're going to look at a few clips and discuss it. Not the most jolly topic to end the year with, but here we are. So Lily is a 23-year-old OF creator from the UK, and she sent out an advertisement looking for 100 men who would be interested in sleeping with her. One after the other, all in one day. So Lily would film the encounter with each guy and further promote her OF content. Now, there are many things to talk about here, from the men who were crazy enough to take part in this challenge, to everyone involved, and to the big picture. What led Lily to this point, and could she lead other women to try and do the same or similarly crazy stunts? Let's discuss. The documentary starts with introducing us to Lily, who she is, what she does on OF, what kind of content, what kind of requests she gets, how much she earns, and she gives us a little bit of an idea of how she got to where she is.
There are obviously some women that maybe go into it because they have to or need the money and stuff like that, or they're kind of coached into it by men. But my personal experience is I've only ever felt empowered by the fact that I'm making money off something that I think guys will do anyway. Guys are always going to sexualize me, so I may as well try and profit off that bit.
This comment is pretty telling, I would say. It seems that she believes that her body is the most she has to give, or the best thing about her. It's not her personality, her interest, and other things. The focus is on her physical appearance. If being overly sexualized is how she grew up, that is, of course, very sad and unfortunate. However, just accepting it and saying, well, I get sexualized anyway, I might as well get into the industry. Is this the normal or the best response to have? So many women and men get sexualized every day, from celebrities to regular schmegular people. And yet, they still choose to focus on other things they have to offer, on other things about themselves, on other things they could pursue, other careers.
People in the industry definitely look down on me for doing this, but I think at the end of the day, people forget that it's also my fantasy, and this is also something that I'm really enjoying and want to do and have wanted to do before I was even in the industry.
Right, so she's of age, it's her body, her choice, right? That's fine, but just because she chose this path doesn't mean that we, as the society, can't criticize or critically evaluate what she does. I mean, if someone smokes, we say, okay, you're an adult, sure, you can do whatever you want, but it doesn't mean we can't advise you to maybe try and quit because this isn't the best thing for you to be doing. Just because something is someone's choice and they have the freedom to make that choice doesn't mean we can't criticize it.
I think that's the hard part, and also just the pure fact that people think so much less of you. Yeah. Before anyone ever meets you, they already perceive you to be something.
Well, here's the thing. You may be much more than just an OF model, or more than just a girl who slept with 100 men in one day. But ultimately, this is the part of you, of yourself, that you're seeking notoriety with. When you build a brand around something, don't be surprised if people then start recognizing you for that brand. You choose to present yourself in that way, first and foremost, as your primary thing. So that one's completely on you. Don't be surprised if people's first impression of you is then based on the trait that you choose to promote above everything else. So then there's the preparations leading up to the day, and they give us a little bit of a background how the process of recruiting those 100 guys looked like.
Yeah, so I put out a little Twitter post, and all you do is have to send in a photo of you holding your ID, prioritising guys who have STI tests. They have to screenshot the results, kind of thing.
A couple of things here. She says they're prioritizing people who have had their STI checks, but doesn't necessarily say that it's obligatory to have the test done, which is a little bit concerning, among many other things in this situation. But yeah, unfortunately, Lily doesn't seem too aware or too concerned about the many potential dangers that could come out as a result of this.
You would let these guys do that on your face?
Yeah.
And in your mouth?
Yeah.
What if they had HIV?
Is that where it comes from?
Have you done anything to make sure there's not someone with a criminal record, for example, coming down?
We actually have not, no.
Do you feel safe?
Yeah. I mean, pretty sure I could take on some 50-year-old guy.
Right. But what if it's not some weak 50-something-year-old man? What if it's a man in his prime who gets off on being with a woman like you and then slits her throat right after? There are so many psychopaths and weirdos and creeps out there, and let's be real, people who are responding to this kind of advertisement are likely not the most balanced individuals.
I never really think about things before I do them, so I just kind of do them and then think, oh, was that okay?
So we get to the day when everything is taking place. Lily shows us the room where the magic will happen. She has a bag of 200 condoms. The assistant brings in an air freshener. They mention how the guys apparently won't even be showering before doing the thing.
Yeah, that's good. Are the guys gonna shower? Or...
No.
And I'm just thinking, what's going through these guys' minds? Especially when they're sitting in the lounge or waiting room or whatever. You're sitting next to someone and you're like, oh, hello, I'm the lucky number 1. Oh, really? Well, I'm number 12. And then some poor guy comes in an hour later and he's like, well, I'm number 69, but at least I'm not 99. It's just so dystopian, isn't it? So the guys get in line, new guys come in, guys that already did their thing are coming out, and the guys who are making the documentary do interview a couple of those men who had just been with Lily.
He had flown in from Switzerland just for this.
So I came last night and I'm leaving basically after.
Did you ever think you'd be able to have sex with them?
No, never.
One guy seems to have really enjoyed the experience, but the other guy, he's a little bit shaken. It seems that he's a younger man who's still living with his parents, and he's really worried about them finding out. And it just looks like this is gonna lead to a lot of regret for a lot of these guys.
Are you happy you did it?
A little bit. I'm just a bit nervous really if anyone find out. My dad would kick me out straight away.
It's really hard to watch. I mean, the whole thing, but certain parts especially, like this one. Once everything's over, we also get a little bit of a feedback from Lily's assistant who helped organize the whole thing. And she mentions how at first they had a lot of guys, a lot of interested guys who wanted to do this with Lily. But then when it came time to actually show up, they had plenty of men canceling. And considering how horrible this whole situation is, that at least gives me a little bit of encouragement to know that, okay, even though people have these fantasies and weird ideas, they're at least not immoral enough and crazy enough to follow through, actually. Yeah, Lily did ultimately get 100 men and completed the challenge.
She's took it like a champ. She's done so well. Every time I've said, are you okay? Do you need a breather? She's like, no, bring the next guy in.
Honestly, shame on these assistants who helped, organized, and promoted all of this. She's talking about Lily like she's some kind of an athlete. She pushed through, she took it like a champ. Is she training for the Olympics? Did she just climb Mount Everest? It's so weird to hear her talk about Lily in that way. It's like, this is not an achievement. This is messed up. I'm gonna go on a little tangent here, so bear with me. But during World War II, we know that many horrific things happened, but one that I want to highlight at this point is comfort women. Those were women and girls from various parts of Asia who were forced into sexual slavery, essentially, by the Imperial Japanese Armed Forces. Now, this is still a very painful topic even today for many Asian countries, cultures. It's a very interesting topic, but also very disturbing. But if you're interested, I do advise you to read about it. I'll link a video with one of the survivors of this ordeal down below. But the point I want to make, why is this even in this section of the video? These women were forced into this situation. They were put into facilities. Soldiers would line up in front of the door, one after the other, and they would come into the room, do their thing, leave, another one would come in, and this would go on for hours every day. It was abuse, it was torture. And among the women that survived this ordeal, that led to many physical and psychological consequences, as we can imagine. It was horrific abuse, and everyone can recognize that. But in 2024, we have a woman who is doing a very similar thing, but of her own volition, and she's making a spectacle out of it. It's not exactly the same, of course not. But the fact that not even 100 years later, we have a woman who is choosing to be abused in such a way, is allowing herself to be abused like that. That's just mind-blowing to me.
It's not for the weak, girls, if I'm honest. It was hard. I don't know if I'd recommend it. It's kind of like being a prostitute in a sense of like, it's just a different feeling. I don't know how to explain it, like
more intense than you thought it might.
Definitely.
Sorry.
Okay. Okay. Just take
Yeah, 1 minute.
Yeah.
She's so close, isn't she? She's so close to getting it, but still so far away. It's not for the weak girls, she says. Right, because putting yourself through something like this is a true sign of strength, isn't it? I said it before and I'll say it again. To think that people around her supported her, no one stepped in and said, hey, maybe this isn't the best idea. Her parents, I don't know how involved they were, but clearly they didn't intervene. Her assistants, they had no qualms, no moral qualms about arranging the whole thing. The guy showed up, Lily went through with it. At the end of the day, look, the documentary is well made, but even those guys that filmed it, the fact that they did was probably part of the incentive for Lily because it gave her even more publicity.
I think sometimes like feeling so like robotic. Like by the, I think like the 30th, you know, like when we're getting on a bit, sometimes you'd like disassociate and be like, you know, like it's not like normal things at all.
Yeah, you have a literal line of guys in front of your room. Each of them have a limited amount of time with you. Of course it's going to feel robotic. Of course it's not going to feel normal or natural. Nothing about it is natural or normal. Then she tries to spin it and say like, oh, I feel so bad and emotional. I'm emotional because I worry that I didn't give them a good enough time, that they didn't fully enjoy the experience.
And that's what's making you feel emotional, is that maybe you think you didn't give some guys a good enough time today?
Yeah, and it's hard, I think, having the interactions with them when they're like, what, you're not going to make me finish? I've come all this way. Like, kind of like guilt-tripping me a little bit.
Whether this is what she genuinely believes, or partly believes, or if she's just trying to save face and ascribe her tears to this and not on the fact that she's disappointed and deeply broken after this experience. Ultimately, she's the one putting that pressure on herself. And this is just one of the dangers of this kind of career. Feeling the pressure or putting the pressure onto yourself to always do something more ridiculous, crazier, to stay relevant and to stay on top. Push yourself further, trample your morals even more. For what? Is it really worth it? Let me know all your thoughts in the comments down below about this challenge, about Lily, about the documentary, and about her plan to try to do it with 1,000 guys soon. Take care. Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, because I probably won't see you until after the holidays. So yeah, bye guys.